So, welcome to this rerun of my past Summit Lightning talk, Teaching Nerds T-SQL with Star Wars. My name is Richard Douglas, and I'm the founder and organizer of the Maidenhead SQL Server user group. This deck was taken from the past summit. I'm just re-recording this as a couple of people have asked me to do so, so there's no need to silence your phones at this point. A little bit about me. My name is Richard Douglas, as I've already mentioned. I run and organise the Maidenhead SQL Server Past chapter in the United Kingdom. You can find me on my Twitter tag @SQLRich. You can also follow me on my SQL Server blog, which is sql.richarddouglas.co.uk. Okay, so let's move into the main part of the session. So, as you can see on the screen, this session is all about learning T-SQL, and what I want to try and do is to bring this to you into a bit of a fun and humorous way. As it says on the slide, I learnt by a book, or typically people will learn in a classroom, and it's not necessarily the best way. So this is a kind of train the trainer kind of situation where I want to bring you a few analogies so you can bring people on, things like ASP.NET developers that might not know too much about SQL Server but want to know a bit about it. So the first thing we have is the select statement. So a select is the way that you ask SQL Server for your data. So it's quite important to know that SQL Server has a what language rather than a how language. So you tell it what it wants rather than how to get it. So an example of a select statement would be, I want to select style from wardrobe. So wardrobe is my object or my table, and style is the attribute that I want to return. So we've got our select statement, but sometimes we don't want to return everything from a table, so there's something called a predicate, and typically we're going to use a where clause in order to filter out the data that we want returning. So it might look something like this. So in this scenario, we have our task table, and we're selecting the effort attribute from it, but we're filtering where the outcome is do or the outcome is do not. T-SQL is a procedural language. There are certain things you can do with it, and so one of the things you can do is you can raise errors when things happen that you don't want to happen. So as an example of this, we have the raise error statement. So we can try and meet a condition. In this case, if try exists, then we're going to raise the error, there is no try. And if you're a business intelligent kind of developer, this one's for you. So far we've spoken about selecting data, but of course it's impossible to select data without actually putting data into our tables and our databases first. So typically the way we would do this would be to run an insert statement. So there are a couple of different ways you can do this, and the first one is the simple insert statement. So I have an insert here. I'm going to insert into stormtroopers.mind. So stormtroopers is my schema, and mind is my table. So we're inserting into stormtrooper.mind, and we're inserting into this thought attribute here. So in effect what we're doing is we're inserting a suggestion into a stormtrooper's mind. Now, what we can do in 2008 and beyond is we can concatenate these together, so we can do multiple insert statements at the same time using our values clause here. And all we need to do is wrap things in parentheses and have them as comma separated. So again, the same scenario, but this time we're inserting, we do not need any identification, these are not the droids you're looking for, and move along. So we've covered select statements and insert statements, but sometimes we want to delete data. So we'd want to delete data that's either of no use to us, or we've run out of space and we need to delete something. So this is how we would do this. We'd use our delete statements. So again, we're deleting from our table. In this case, we're deleting from the galaxy, and we're adding our predicate where planet equals Alderaan. So far we've covered our select statements, our insert statements, and our delete statements. Now it's time to take a look at our update statements. So an update statement is something that you'd want to use when you want to change an existing value to something else. So in our example, we have an accounts table, and we wish to change the owner of these accounts. So we're going to change the owner to Disney, where our franchise is Star Wars. So updates are changes to a table. You can do this in real time using a select statement with the replace command. In this example I'm going to use an update statement. So we're going to be updating our table Luke Skywalker, and we're going to be changing the arm attribute, and we're going to be replacing his arm. More specifically, we're getting rid of his right hand and we're going to replace that with a stub. Now, unfortunately, Luke Skywalker wasn't the most intelligent of people, and this picture proves that. Enough said, really. So something slightly technical for people to get their teeth into if you're into that kind of thing. So this is the order of query operations that the SQL Server Optimizer will perform when trying to optimize a query. So we'll start with the from clause. We'll then check to see what's in the on clause and the outer clause of our joins. We'll then go through the where clause, group by, roll up, having, select, distinct, order by, and top. Okay, I'd like to thank you all for joining me on this video. I've been SQL Rich, and I hope to see you soon.